Yo, what is up everyone? My name is Jack Ross from NASCAR on MDK. Welcome back to the episode of Inside the Lines. We have two stories here for today's episode. One really short one, doesn't really matter. But this next story we're going to talk about near the end, it is huge regarding the future of NASCAR. Obviously, we're talking about the next gen or the Gen-7 car. Well, let's start with our first story. Just a little quick update on the Dover TV ratings that came out earlier today. Adam Stern, obviously from Sports Business Journal, reported that NBCSN earned a 1.1 rating and 1.8 million viewers for yesterday's Dryden 400 from the Monster Mile, off from a 1.2 rating and 2 million viewers from last year's race. However, still an up near the end of the story. NBC Sports says that for its half of the year so far, excluding the postponed Daytona race, it's up 2% in viewership. Kind of expected Dover to slide down in ratings because it's just not that entertaining of a racetrack, especially from what took place earlier on in the year, in June, I believe. That race was not good at all, so I figure fans just decided, you know what, I don't want to see another Dover race with this package. I'm going to tune out. I'm going to save myself for Talladega. But now on to our big story. NASCAR today ran a Gen-7, or a next-gen test at Richmond Raceway with driver Austin Dillon, just to test out the aspects of the car. Now, we want to point out that this is not the final product of the Gen-7 car, nowhere near it. In fact, this is just a generic body, meaning this is not made from Chevy, Ford, or Toyota. Those are being done by their OEMs. They're still at their developmental center, whatever they are. They're still working on the Gen-7 car. RCR just built a generic version of the Gen-7 car just so that NASCAR can test out some of the aspects of it. Now, there are some things that, even though, again, like I said, it's not the final product of the Gen-7 car, there are still a few things that we need to talk about here. And I even wrote on a little index card, wrote down some pointers or wrote down some bullet points on some of the things that are different from this next gen car. Let's go over. The first one is the bigger wheels. Now, we knew this from the beginning, or from much earlier on in the year, that NASCAR will be going from a 15-inch to then 18-inch tires when the next gen comes out in 2021. Obviously, to look more realistic, to relate more to the cars you see on the road. And the rims on the car, it reminds me a lot more of the cars that you see on the road. Now, one of the interesting things about this, specifically with the wheels, was the fact that it was rumored that NASCAR could be going from 5 lug nuts to just one single lug nut that you see known in Formula 1, IndyCar, and I think even V8 supercars do this, if I'm not mistaken. And even Bob Parker said that while it is, you know, they're still using the 5 lug nuts, Bob Parker did say that they could be leaning in that direction, but again, that's nothing confirmed yet. They're still using the 5 lug nut wheels, and hopefully they stay with that. No cars you see on the road, especially in America, I don't know what about in Europe or whatever, but in America, you still see the 5 lug nuts. You don't see 1 lug nut on an American car here. So, highly encourage NASCAR to stick to 5 lug nuts, but regardless, that's really my only thing that I'm worried about. The other stuff I actually like. Now, one thing I want to point out, let's first start off by where the most important area is, the splitter. You know, we got to talk about that. Now, if you see from Austin Dillon's video, let's stop right here. You see this little gap right in the bottom on the splitter as you go straight, and then has a little hump and then back down. That reminds me a lot. Now, this is a new splitter. This is different from the old Gen, or from the Gen 6 car splitter. The Gen 6 splitter is more flat on the outside that you see. There's no little hump. There's no nothing. It's just a very flat piece of metal. However, with this Gen 7 car, there's like a little hump, like I said earlier. This reminds me a lot of the X3 splitter. Let's show a picture of it right now. You see on the bottom, it looks very similar to that. Now, what the whole point of this splitter, especially with the X3 car, what that was supposed to do was that teams would try and get it as flat as possible with the old splitter so that the car would suck to the ground, more downforce, whatever. Just, it makes your car go faster. What this hump does is that it sort of makes it impossible for teams to seal it off. What that does is that allows air to go underneath the car, and it makes the car behind it, or the car behind the other car, has less dirty air to deal with. So basically, this is all meant to help racing, so that the car behind him doesn't have so much dirty air to the point where it's nearly impossible to pass. The splitter with the gap on the bottom allows air to go through, creates less dirty air. Now, obviously, I would much rather have no splitter, just a valence, but if we're going to go with an X3 splitter, I don't mind it at all. Now, another change, and this is something that I was not expecting. This photo I got from Arrow Racing Design on Twitter. This is shown from the back end of the test car. Now, some things are a bit different. The splitter, or the spoiler I should say, looks a bit smaller. It doesn't look exactly the same but it looks a bit smaller from this year's package, or this year's split, I should say. But one of the big changes is what you see on the bottom of the car. That's a diffuser, or at least that's what it looks like to me. It's a diffuser. Now, the whole point of the diffuser is to basically give the car more aero. What it really does is just sucks the car back down on the rear end with the splitter spoiler. It helps the car suck to the ground. So, but that's a really nice feature I was not expecting, because if you see on cars on the road, more specifically with the Camaro, Mustang, and even with the Camry, they have diffusers on the back end. So again, another feature that makes the car look more like you see on the road. I noticed that there are nostrils on the side of the car, near the hood, whereas that's where the engine goes out. You see there another pic of Austin's car. The reason why, just for that, is so that the sponsor logos don't intervene with it, so they just put it on the side. But another thing that I want to talk about is the side skirts. Now the side skirts, they're still there, but they look a bit thicker. They don't look as thin as it is. It looks thicker. And on the front of the car, or when you go near to or closer to the front wheels of the car, it looks like it goes in, or it just fades away. It doesn't go completely all the way. It doesn't cover the whole side of the car. It just stops or turns in near the front wheels. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that does. Again, this is very early testing. This is just a generic body. Once we get closer, maybe in the middle of 2020, when we get a really good detail of how the Gen 7 car looks, we'll probably know more about all the features it has. But yeah, honestly, final thoughts. I like some of the features. I really do like the diffuser. That really looks good on the back end of those cars. I like the splitter. Again, it reminds me of the X3 car, and I like the X3 splitter. If we're gonna have a splitter, I'll take the X3 splitter. So I do like that. Again, I'm not. I don't want to say I am. I'm not gonna jump the gun and say, oh, this is gonna be a great car. I'm just optimistic. But right now, I like what I see in terms of the features that the Gen 7 will have in 2021. That's going to end for me. What are you guys' thoughts on the Gen 7 car? What are your thoughts on the next gen car that was raced earlier today by Austin Dillon? Do you like the features it has? Are you concerned, or are you more confident on the next gen in 2021? Tell me in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. But until next time, my name is Jack Ross from NASCAR on MDK, and I'll see you guys in the next video.